Hi, this is Megan with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to make a round braid knotted anchor bracelet. So you can see I have this one here that I did, and I used this nice tiara cast anchor that we have. There's two sizes. This is the larger one. And then I have a round braid made with faux suede cord, and I have another video showing how to do the 4-strand round braid. So if you don't know how to do that, go ahead and check that out first. And what you'll need is 2 round braids and then these little end caps. It's kind of tricky to find something that's not round for that. What we're going to do is just bend it down and so that it fits nicely in there. And then you need an anchor charm. So like I said, there's 2 sizes, and I'm going to use the smaller size for this one. Make it a little bit more dainty. And then you're going to need a smaller cord. So for this one here, I just used a 1mm waxed cotton. And for the next one I'm going to do, to get a color that matches right, I'm actually going to use Griffin Silk size 6. And I stretched it out already so that it won't start losing its fit once it stretches. You're going to need some E6000, some scissors, some flush cutters, and some chain nose pliers. So I already did my round braids, and I used tape on the ends, and I taped it to the length that I want from tape to tape. And what you're going to do for length is each one should be a little longer than the finished length that you want, because it uses up a lot of space in the knot. So if you want a 7-inch bracelet, I'm working with about 8 inches from here to here on each braid. The clasp is also going to add more space, but less for the smaller anchor. So what you're going to do is use the flush cutters to cut through your cords, and you don't want to leave a lot of the tape on there, but you do want to leave enough on there so it doesn't start unraveling as soon as you work with it. So get your cord ends ready. You need 2. And just don't try to crimp the end with the hole, because it's just not going to do a nice, neat looking shape for you. Just take the open end and squish it down a little bit. And it bends pretty easily, so be gentle. You don't want to completely flatten it. You can kind of take your pliers and go in here, and that's going to make that a more gradual turn instead of being pointed at the ends. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing for the other one. I'm going to go ahead and take one of your braids. Make sure the tape is stuck on really well so that it doesn't fall off when you trim it. You can see here you have just this much space to work with, and you also have to fit a knot in for the cord. So you want to go ahead and trim it down to just about 1/8 of an inch below the tape. And be careful, because your cord ends will go flying. So you can see here we need to make a loop on one cord end, and we need to attach the anchor on the other cord end. So I'm going to start with the anchor end. I'm going to just cut a piece a few inches long of your smaller cord. So if you're going to use Griffin Silk and you're having a hard time getting your cord ends, the ends of your cord through the cord end hole, you can try gluing the ends of your string so that they don't unravel. If you have gum Arabic glue, that's what that's made for, and it would be perfect. But if you don't, you can try just some E6000, which you're already going to need for this project. Just put a small amount on there, and then use your fingers to smooth it down. Just give that a couple of minutes. Go ahead and put both ends of the cord through the cord end. Then we're going to tie a lark's head knot. You can tie the knot before or after. As long as you give yourself a few inches of string, it should be fine. Tie on your anchor. And then move the cord end down close to the knot. And now you don't want this to pull out, and just gluing it might not hold very securely, but you need your knot to be as close to the other side of the cord end as possible. So what you're going to do is just tie a regular knot, pull as tight as you can, and then hold on to the ends of the cord and use a pair of pliers to just tighten that knot and push it down. You can just kind of push right on it and it'll move it down. All right, and make sure that it only has a little bit of give left after that. It's fine if it's not right up against it, but it shouldn't go out half an inch. So once your knot is nice and tight, then you can go ahead and leave that for right now, the ends there. What we're gonna do is fold one of the braids in half, and we're gonna fit it in right next to that, right in there. It does fit. It looks like it's a tight fit, but that just keeps it looking neat and secure. So take some E6000, hold your cord ends together, and just get some glue on the ends. And don't oversaturate them with glue. You want enough so that it's going to go down onto the sides a little bit, but not so much that it's going to spill out everywhere. So hold the cord ends from your anchor to the side, kind of keep them out of the way. And you don't want to put a lot of glue on the sides here, otherwise it's going to get everywhere when you try to put these in. So go ahead and push the ends of your braid in, and you're going to have to use your fingers to kind of tuck them in. Get glue on yourself, just wipe it off. If glue seeps out to the side, just wipe it off and push that in there all the way. And you're going to want to give that a good solid drying time before you touch it again, because it's only going to be secure if you really let it dry before you start pulling on it. What we're going to do is just use a pair of flush cutters to get right up against the cord end and snip the edges of those strings. Okay. Now you're going to take your second braid and you're going to trim the cord ends just like you did on the other one to about a generous 1/8 of an inch. Then we're going to take this loop of the new braid and put it underneath the loop of the other braid. Pull the ends up and together bring them through that loop. And when you're doing this, you want to let this dry. If it's not all the way dry, if you're not sure, don't ever pull on this part. Pull on this part. Pull on the braid. Okay, now we're going to attach this other cord end, and we need to have a loop in there to attach to the anchor. So again, if you need to, put some glue on the ends of your cord to keep it from fraying while you put it through the cord end. You have your E6000 out, you just use some of that. So once your cords are dry, or if you're using a waxed cotton, you can just go right ahead. You're going to put both ends through the top of the cord end, just like you did with the other side. Okay, what we're going to do now, we want to just have a loop, but we need to tie a knot on this end too. So go ahead and put a scrap piece of string or cord or wire or anything. You're going to pull the loop down. That cord is just going to keep it from falling through. And then just tie an overhand knot in the ends here. Might want a slightly longer piece of string than I gave myself. If you have a few inches long, that'll be plenty. Okay. Now your loop is going to be as long as from the top here to the knot, so keep that in mind. Your loop just needs to be long enough to fit over the prongs of the anchor. So here I have about 1/2 inch, and that's enough even for the big one because it just needs to be enough to fit the side of the anchor through. So with a smaller one, it doesn't even need to be that long. So I'll probably still go with just about 1/2 inch. It does definitely going to be long enough. And pull it really tight because this is going to take up room inside the cap here. So then you pull it back out, take out your spare piece of string, and now we're going to glue in the other cord ends. So get yourself some fresh glue, take your cord ends together, and get some glue on the ends. And if you use a little bit more glue and it comes out, you can always clean it off. You want to make sure that you're using enough that it's going to be secure. Just not so much that it's going to come out all over the place. So I kind of take the back here where I have the other ones that I clipped off. I'm going to go ahead and put them on the same side. So again, you're just going to push them in, use your finger to kind of tuck the tape down, get them all the way in, and then very gently, so you don't pull it off, just clip the ends. If you want to wait too until it's more dry, you can pull that tighter and get that a little bit closer. But that's the basics of how you do it. The good thing about this too is that knot and the texture of the braid, it'll actually let you adjust to a certain extent the size here. So if you pull it tighter, you get a bigger bracelet with a smaller knot, and looser is going to be a smaller bracelet with a bigger knot. And then all you do for the clasp is hook that loop around the edges of the anchor, like so. And your cord will relax a little bit. That is how you make a round braid knotted anchor bracelet.